Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols, reaming my body.
Alright, y'all, we got the spoilers for the next couple episodes of the Boruto anime. By the end of this video, you guys could pretty much have a very good idea of what we should be expecting for the next month of the Boruto anime. But without further ado, I'm going to get right into the spoilers. By the way, the spoilers were actually translated by the GOAT Organic Dinosaur herself. If you guys want to be first to the spoilers, I highly recommend you guys follow her on Twitter. But into the actual spoilers, the title of episode 219 is going to be returning. Into the actual paragraph, it says, after concluding their battle with Ishiki, Boruto and his comrades have returned to the village. Thanks to their tremendous efforts, their team has maintained safety of the village. However, and in the midst of battle, Boruto's consciousness was completely hijacked by Momoshiki once again. Boruto had developed a strong sense of dread about what had happened to him. Meanwhile, Amato informs them about some new intel. The former leader of Kata, Jigen, had a faithful servant amongst his executive staff named Code, who possessed even greater powers than Jigen did. In addition, Kata currently has ownership of an immature form of the 10-tailed beast. While Code is watching over the 10 tails, something appears right in front of him. Alright, so this right here is going to be what happens in Boruto episode 219. This right here is going to be directly from the manga. As far as the people who don't necessarily like anime only content, this right here is going to be from the manga. I think one of the first things that we have to talk about is the fact that Boruto is feeling extremely guilty. It was kind of worded a little bit weird, which kind of makes it seem that Momoshiki took over Boruto again in this episode. That wasn't the case. They're actually just explaining what happened in the last episode. And in this episode, Boruto is just going to be feeling extremely guilty. Obviously, Sasuke's Rinnegan is gone. Boruto's master got a huge nerf because of him. So of course, Boruto is going to be feeling some type of way. Now, the other big thing in this episode, they pretty much explain that a member of the executive staff of the Kata organization named Code, which we've seen multiple times in the Boruto anime already, is supposedly stronger than Jigen. Remind you guys, this Jigen actually pushed Naruto and Sasuke to the brink, literally almost killed them before they both got nerfed respectively. Sasuke and Naruto at this particular point are weaker than they once were prior. So this right here seems like it's going to be absolutely insane. So it seems that Code is now going to be the #1 villain in the series of Boruto as of right now. This right here took a crazy turn of events. Now, it is not only the fact that Code is supposedly stronger than Jigen, but also he has the 10 tails. The 10 tails that we did see in the other dimension, where Sasuke actually did go and see this 10 tails. This right here makes Code extremely overpowered. And of course, one of the biggest things that we do have to keep an eye on is, of course, if you feed either Boruto or Kawaki to that 10 tails, then that 10 tails grows into a god tree. And then of course, it grows a chakra fruit. The next episode is going to be Boruto episode 220. The title is going to be Remaining Time. Into the actual paragraph, it says, people who have been etched with the karma by a member of the Otsutsuki clan gradually have their minds and bodies taken over during their Otsutsuki transformation. The situation surrounding Boruto and his Otsutsuki transformation is quite serious. In addition, they need to discuss Code, who is the leader of Kata, and his movements. Boruto's father, who is the Hokage Naruto, calls for a 5 Kage summit in order to convene with the others and talk about these matters. Amongst the topics is the progression of Boruto's Otsutsuki transformation, which will eventually become a situation with a level of a threat that would be on par with Ishiki's case. And so it became a question, what would be done if that situation arises? Could anything be done about it at all? The Kazekage Gata then asks Naruto, are you prepared to attack and take down your own son? As the Hokage and Boruto's father, what would be Naruto's decision? Alright, so again, first things first, another episode of straight manga content. So again, a lot of people have been pretty much saying that after this is going to be straight anime only episodes. That isn't the case. The next 2 episodes are going to be straight from the Boruto manga. So this right here is going to be a very interesting episode as well. The big thing about this episode, of course, there's a lot of things that was brought up, but the last part of this episode is going to be very interesting. Not only are they going to actually have a 5 Kage summit, but they're going to actually be talking about Boruto. Now, when this right here was actually introduced into the Boruto manga, I thought it was a very big possibility that they'd order the execution of Boruto, which then would possibly lead to a huge war with the Hidden Leaf Village versus all of the other 4 nations. Because of that, this right here was very huge in the Boruto manga. But what the dialogue actually seems like is that they're trying to work with Naruto and try to make a compromise and actually see where Naruto's head is at. So of course they asked Naruto the question, are you prepared to actually attack and take down your own son? Now at this particular time, we pretty much know who Naruto is. We understand what Naruto stands for. He's probably not necessarily going to be down for that, but we damn sure know that Sasuke himself is going to be down for that. So we definitely do want to see exactly what this dialogue is going to be in this particular episode episode right here. The next episode is going to be Boruto episode 221. The title is going to be the Chunin exams again. Now into the actual paragraph, it says, at Naruto's suggestion, the Chunin exam will take place in the Konoha village for the Genin. Since everyone in the village has grown uneasy due to Ishiki's raid, the other objective of the Chunin exam is to cheer everyone up. Boruto and his peers in his same Genin class are each heading towards their own goals. These Genins are gathering together and aiming to be promoted to Chunin status. Up until now, they've all been teammates who have completed numerous missions together and have gained considerable experiences from doing them. Now it's time to show off the results of their accumulated training. Everyone is super motivated to tackle the exams. Who will achieve their dearest wish of being promoted to Chunin? Alright, so this right here is going to be the start of the Chunin exam. A lot of people have very high hopes for the Chunin exam, mainly because of course whenever we see Chunin exam, it automatically comes with an existing amount of clout. So hopefully this arc of the Chunin exam actually does meet the expectations. Now in episode 222, the title is going to be the eve before the decisive battle. Into the actual paragraph, it says, the final test of the Chunin exams has been announced. The format will be in individual matchups. Last time, not too many candidates remained for the final test, but this time Boruto and many of his peers from the same class of Genins have made it. Each of them are very determined and are starting to make their final preparations. Amongst the finalists are Team 7, who have a top ranked track record, the members of Team 10, and Izuno Wasabi, who has been putting forth a lot of effort into her mission despite the absence of Kake Sumire. In addition, the test rules have been changed. The use of self-made scientific ninja weapons are permitted. Denki and Tsubaki, a samurai foreign exchange student from the Iron Country, and other finalists have been devoting themselves completely to development and fine-tuning their own scientific ninja weapons, and so there will be new formidable foes in the test. Some white hot battles are about to unfold. Now this right here is something very important that I do want to point out. I don't only want to see ninjas from the Hidden Leaf Village. And I think it would be very disappointing if we don't even see Shinki, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see either Shinki versus Boruto, Shinki versus Mitsuki, and even Shinki versus Kawaki. Those would be elite battles. So I think if it's just characters from the Hidden Leaf Village, it would be a mistake. Now, I do want to point out there is definitely a possibility that in these actual episode summaries, they don't necessarily want to spoil everything from the episodes, which I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be the situation. But from what we're seeing right here, it's not necessarily looking the best, just my personal opinion. But also another big thing that they did add in this particular paragraph is that they are permitting scientific ninja weapons that are actually made by the people using it. So it can't necessarily be something that they buy from the flea market or something like that. Katasuka can't rig them up something. It can't be some scientific weaponry from Amato or something like that. They can't necessarily get a magical dojutsu. So this right here is definitely going to be interesting, especially for a character like Tsubaki, who is already on a level like a Sada, like a Boruto or something like that, and now is permitted to actually use scientific ninja technology. I personally believe that she's probably going to end up being in the finals, to be honest. This right here is definitely going to be interesting, but again, I really hope that we do get to see other characters from other villages as well. All right, now the next episode is going to be Boruto episode 223. The title is going to be Inojin versus Haku. In the actual paragraph, it says, at last, the final test has begun. The first round of individual combat matchups will be the battle between Inojin and Haoki. Haoki and his comrades from Team 25 have been doing missions with the Anbu up until now, which is rare and usually even amongst their own peers. That's why Inojin doesn't know what Haoki could be scheming or what tricks that Haoki might have up his sleeve. To start things off quickly, Inojin skillfully uses the Super Beast Scroll Jutsu, which is a jutsu that's in Inojin's forte. He is then able to drive Haoki into a corner. However, Haoki waits for his chance to use his jutsu. Suddenly, Inojin has completely lost sight of his enemy's whereabouts and the tables have turned. Who will ultimately be the winner? Meanwhile, Boruto and Mitsuki are heading over to the venue for the final test. Since they are supposed to be participating in them, en route they happen to catch sight of some suspicious looking people and decide to pursue them. Alright, so this right here is going to be a very good episode in my personal opinion. First things first, a lot of people know who Inojin is. Haoki is the person that looks a lot like Kakashi, and of course we don't necessarily know exactly what he's able to do. He hasn't necessarily gotten much screen time, but because he has that Kakashi look, he has to be good 100%. They're not necessarily going to have a person look like that and be completely garbage. And of course, by the looks of it, the spoilers have been pretty much saying that he's been working with the Anbu Black Ops. That right there is very impressive. Now obviously Boruto and the rest have taken a little bit of steam off of that mainly because he's been working against Otsutsuki members and stuff like that, and Kado organization members, Kage level characters. So that right there doesn't necessarily seem the most. But if you guys think back to OG Naruto time, if we heard that Genin was actually working with the Anbu Black Ops, we would all think that that character right there here is definitely elite. So I definitely do want to see exactly what he has in store. And just off of these episodes, by the looks of it, this tuning exam seems like it's going to be fairly long, which I do hope for. Now, another big thing for the tuning exam is that I want it to be multi-layered, and it seems like this episode right here is actually going to now introduce a multi-layered scenario where multiple things are happening. So for example, one part of the episode is going to be the tuning exam. Another part of the episode is going to be what we see at the end of this paragraph right here, when Boruto and Mitsuki see something suspicious and they actually start to pursue people, and I want to see something else, and I want to see something else. Just multi-stories with multiple dramas and multiple attention-grabbing things, but also adding some things from the Boruto manga. But enough of me rambling. I definitely do want to know what you guys think about these spoils in the comment section below. Do you guys like it? Do you guys dislike it? I personally think it's decent. I definitely want to see other characters from other villages as well, and they have to have Shinki in it no matter what. But it's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.